Okay, hello YouTube and YouTube subscribers. Today we're going to do a species profile on the honey gourami, also known as Trichogaster chuna, formerly Colossia chuna, but the scientific name was changed for reasons I won't cover, since that might just put you guys to sleep. Now, the honey gourami is very similar to closely related dwarf gourami, except overall, I just think the honey gourami is flat out better than dwarf gourami. The problem is that it's hard to find actual wild type honey gouramis. And what often happens is a lot of fish sold as honey gouramis are actually thick-lipped gouramis, and there's a sunset color, selectively bred color morph of both honey gourami and of the sunset gourami. Now, one way you can tell them apart is that if your fish is a true honey gourami, it's likely going to grow 2 inches, and if your fish is a sunset gourami, it can grow up to 3 or 4 inches. And another thing is the dorsal fin on the sunset gourami form of the thick lip gourami is actually quite pointed. I'll have a bunch of pictures in here to describe all the color phases and have some comparisons between the true honey gourami and the thick lip gourami, just to make things clearer, because it'd be easier for me just to show you the images rather than me talk about and describe it. So the honey gourami grows to 2 inches long, and what's interesting about the honey gourami is that it's actually the female that's bigger than the male. By the male, it grows about 1.5 inches. Now, the female is not more colorful, though. The female, in her normal state, she's kind of a beigeish color, and she'll have a black line running down her midsection right here. Now, the male, in his normal state, which is actually not this, but the male in his normal state is a honey marmalade color with a bit of black underneath here. And what happens when the fish goes in heat, this black area intensifies, and that shows that the male is ready to breed. There's also as I said before, there's also a red, selectively bred tank form. There's also a yellow form, which I think the yellow form might be a wild type. And in the yellow form, both the male and female are yellow, except the female still has that black margin right here. And then the yellow form also, there's some red down in this belly region instead. So everything about the honey gourami in terms of care is very similar to the dwarf. But the honey gourami is more, I'd say, more disease resistant, a lot hardier. They have the same varying personality traits that a lot of gouramis basically have. Usually, it's quite a peaceful fish. And one thing I've read about the honey gourami is it's recommended to actually keep them in groups. Even though the males are territorial and kind of aggressive towards each other, they seem to fare better when they're in groups. So, say you buy a mixed group of males and females, if you can find females. So, you'll get more interesting behavior and all that, and the fish just feel a bit more comfortable. Now, in terms of water parameters, since this is a gourami, like most gouramis, it's quite flexible. It can live in soft acidic water or hard alkaline water with a pH from, like, say, 6 to, like, 7.5, or even sometimes a bit higher or a bit lower than I stated. In terms of temperature, this is a gourami, of course, so they like high temperatures. I'd say 24 to 28 degrees, maybe even 32 if you want to breed them. And in terms of feeding, the honey gourami is omnivorous. If you want to try Daphina, bloodworms, tube-fit worms, mosquito larvae as treat foods, and then of course your staple is a good quality flake that contains spirulina algae. So overall, I will have slides and stuff covering this fish more in detail, but I'm just going to say that if you have the option to buy either a honey gourami or a dwarf gourami, I go with the honey gourami instead. So the honey gourami, in my opinion, is the best commonly available small gourami. The only problem is that although it's fairly common, it's not as common as it should be. Instead, you get dwarfs more often. So thanks for watching. Please rate, comment, and subscribe.